Come and listen to this tale about a dude named Ted, standing there just looking at the tools in his shed. And then he got to thinking, just looking ain't no fun. Let's pick one up and plug it in and see if it'll run. It did. Pretty good, too. Now old Ted's a happy guy 'cause he's got a pretty wife. Figures if he plays it right, he'll keep that gal for life. That gal, her name is Beverly, and he's her hillbilly. He's sweet on her, she's sweet on him, they're happy as could be. She's Beverly, he's Hillbilly, he's Beverly's hillbilly.
Good morning. It's almost afternoon. I'm finally motivated enough to move around a bit today. So, here's what I'm thinking. I worked on making a little metal roller, and I think I showed you at the end of that this little sketch that I started making. So I think today I'm just going to chop that off of there and just make a test. I'm going to lower here, just let me lower you a little bit and I can show you what I mean. I'm going to lower this and this just a little bit so that I've got a little bit more thickness here and here, and but I can do that as I go. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this off somewhere about here, and I'm going to go over to the bandsaw and I'm going to cut out the basic outside shape, and then I'll try to lay out these a little bit better and figure out how much material I need to make the fenders. I've already got the rolls made. Well, one of them. I have to make a second one because the second time I tried, the piece that I was using had a little angle cut off the side of it. But anyway, for now, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to cut this off. 70. Just beyond somewhere there. Then there's the basics. I'm going to probably change the angle of this a little bit here. And man, I wish you could smell that. It's actually cedar, that I think, cedar or hemlock or something. It smells very nice. Anyway, we're going to go over to the bandsaw and we're going to see if we can cut this out. Apparently, I might have to just redesign things just a little bit. Look at that. I almost made that hole there in the right place. Let's go over to the sander, if I can get there from here. talking about it. So a little bit more smoothing to do in there and here, and some finish sanding. And I'm gonna, maybe I should do that. That's a thought. Get rid of some, well, only some of them though. I'm gonna use the palm sander to get rid of these lines because I want to lower them down some anyway. I might move, well no, I don't think I'm going to move that any further ahead because I'm going to, I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about here. I'm probably going to wind up cutting this back a bit and putting it on a slight angle. Okay, anyway, basic outline of the car. I'm really sorry I forgot to video the cutting process. Yesterday was not a particularly good day for me. I've got a good friend that's in the hospital, probably dying, and I was there most of the day. At any rate, I just came from the bandsaw. I showed you cutting out the main shape, and I redrew my fenders approximately where I'd like them to be, and I've been to the bandsaw and cut that off. So now what I'm going to do is I've measured, given myself a generous amount here. I don't know if you can see that line there. I'm going to try to cut that off as square and straight as I can. Right, so I don't know if you can see the line that I've drawn on there. I've got a pair of my father's old tin snips. I think, well, there might be a pair in there that are longer, but I know these ones are sharp enough to cut, so I'm going to see if I can cut this across here without, well, it won't matter because I'm going to have to trim it, but without having to resort to flattening it out afterward. There we go. That's a pretty nice straight line. So I've drawn a line on it, and I'm going to see if I can just sand it off on my my disc sander. It might take a few minutes, but I'll let you know how it works. Alright, so what I've done here is I've got the curve of the front fender rolling down over that roller, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten these and make a return roll on it. I don't want it to be very long, and yeah, anyway. Basic idea is starting to take shape, but it's not quite sharp enough. But I might be able to remedy that in the actual thing. So let's see what I can do over there. What do you think? It's starting to take shape. I think we can make it work. Are we on screen? I don't know. Okay. It gives us a bit of an idea that it will work. I'm going to have to cut some off here. That's okay. For my next trick, I'm going to try to figure out the taper on the hood. Okay? So, you know, I've decided, I said to myself, why don't you just take it over to that fancy disc sander you made? And that's just what we're going to do. think? Not looking too bad, is it? And it tapers in a little bit. See what we can do, maybe rounding things up a little bit. And then I'm going to go over to the drill press and drill some holes for all of this. And see if my new scroll saw will take care of some of this. I might make this just a little bit thicker so that it's a little stronger. It's got to stand the abuse of a small boy, you know. And he's a boy. He plays with his toys, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Okay, so here's the plan. We set this on here, and we force that up in to where we were going to want it to be in the finished product. And we take a mark here, and we square a line on there. My poor man's anvil. Ball peen hammer, flat surface, and we'll just... Can't tell it was ever crooked. Look at that. Next we're going to introduce this piece to the roller to make a piece that will go from here to here to make the back fenders. Okay, so if I was really smart, I'd understand how to take a measurement from there to there and correspondingly on here and put a mark there so I knew when to stop, but I'm not, so I'm just going to play it by ear. Over to the rolling machine we go. Take a look over here now. Oh, look at that. That's almost perfect. I tell you, I'm liking my little roller machine. I really am. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, once I get these pieces screwed together to hold it all in place, I'm going to take a little piece of a special material that I have. So a roll of the material that will go in here and here to make a kind of a nice little transition from the running board to the rear fender, and so there won't be any sharp edges. I'm going to be rounding these off just a little bit, and of course there's going to be a bumper affair out here somehow too. I'm going to make a bumper for it. Anyway, let's see if I can show you any of that. And first of all, I need to know approximately where to cut my back fender off. Hood, rear fenders, deck lid, roof. Alright, well before I actually put it all together, see there's a gap there and that's okay. I'm going to have to cut out this area here first. So I'm going to see if I can set up my drill press to drill a hole here and maybe here. And then we'll try to use that, which doesn't particularly like very thick material. I'm hoping, well, you know. Anyway, we'll do the best we can. I'll show you more.
So now I guess this episode is all done and said. I would like to thank you all for visiting with Ted. If you'd like to see what's next, why not subscribe and see? It's not that hard, just click on it, it's easy as could be. Comment too, I'd like that.